Hi, my name is Frank, and I'm the Tea Time Traveler. And I'm going to pick from my trusty bowl and see what we're going to talk about. There we are there. It is Spain. Well, I've been to Spain a few times, so I'll give you one of them. I bought a car in Germany, a Volkswagen Beetle, Bug, and decided to drive down, all the way down to Spain, all the way down to the bottom of Spain. And first of all, the car I bought in Germany, I bought in Munich, and it was, what can I say? It was a cheapo car. They had on the street of Universal Strasse, they would park their cars and put notes on the side of the window on the car. You walk by, if you like the car, you phone them up, and they come by and you sell a car. So I was walking down there and I saw this old Volkswagen Beetle, and I thought, okay, phone them up. So I phoned, and the lady answers the phone, and her English is very poor, and my German is, forget it, it's useless. Anyway, so we kind of got together. She came down, and she showed me the car. It ran. It was on the street, and everything like that. It was rough. Looked a little bit rough and not so good, but okay, no big deal. I don't care about that. But she had to tell me that it was. She kept going. I said, "What the heck is that?" It smokes. I said, I don't care about the smokes, but in Germany and Switzerland, they care about the smoke. So when I would fill the motor, it's a air-cooled motor, so I'd fill the motor up with oil, it would smoke. So I put heavy oil on it, so it wouldn't smoke as much, but it still smoked. And I drove, and then by the next city I'd go to, most of the oil would burned out, right? And it wouldn't smoke so much. So it wasn't so bad, right? So when I'm on the highway, it's a smoker. So Germany, I had people, and then in Switzerland, people were honking at me, going, hey, you're smoking us, right? I said, okay, well, I got to France, didn't seem to bother the French so much, and which was okay, I didn't mind, right? I was just using this thing to go down to Spain. So I got to Spain, nobody even talked to me about the smoke anymore in Spain. And I had met this English fellow, and we were traveling down there, and he hitched a ride with me, and we're going down there. And the drive line on the Volkswagen Beetle goes into the brake drum, and it has a spline, and it goes inside it, and it rotates the wheel, and that's how it goes. Well, I'm driving the car, and all of a sudden the brake starts smoking and everything like that. I thought, what the heck's the matter with it? So I had to take it off, and it's a big bolt. It started smoking, and I thought, oh, what the heck's going on with this stupid car? So I went back and took the wheel off and took the the drum off, and noticed that the brakes were going out, but they weren't going back in. So I didn't have anything with me, hardly any tools, hardly anything. So I took the brake line, bent it over and squished it flat. So, and then just put the drum back on. And so I had 3 brakes instead of 4 brakes. So I put a big bolt on this, the bolt that holds the drum on. It's a big bolt, but I didn't have the right tool. So I tightened it up as much as I could, but I just had a little crescent wrench. It wasn't very good. So I tightened it up, and fair enough, it runs, no big deal. So I'm driving down Spain, and I'm down towards the end of the coast of Spain, and the bottom of Spain, I mean, and I met this English fellow, and we went for something to eat, and I started feeling really sick, and the car started making noise again, like the drive line was starting to slop inside there, so it was wearing, because I couldn't tighten it down enough. And so I thought, oh, Jesus, now what am I going to do? So I thought, well, I'll take the drum off the other side and put it on this side, because it wasn't posi traction, just single wheel drive. So I thought, okay, no big deal. I'll put it on the other side. But I started feeling really sick, so I took it and put it on the other side and worked on it for a while. That took me like half a day to do all that with all the tools I had. And I just started getting worse and worse and worse. And I thought, no, I'm not gonna work on this car again. It started making noise again. I thought, I don't care about it. I'll just go to the bus station and dump the car if I have to at the bus station or whatever, you know. So I go to the bus station, and I'm at the bus station, and there's three girls, backpackers and so on. So I asked them, I says, you want a car? And they said, well, how much for the car? I said, El Grande, a big coffee. They said, you sure? I says, yeah. It's more expensive, the big coffee, than a small coffee. I said, buy the coffee, you can have the car. She said, what's wrong with the car? I says, it's got a problem with the driveline. Now, I tried to tighten it down as much as I could. So it might make 50 kilometers, it might make 500 kilometers. To be honest, I don't know. She said, well, what do we do with it? I said, look, if you drive it and you don't like it, just, you know, take it to a wrecker, and that's what I was going to do, try and find somebody who wanted to scrap it, and then just throw it away. And they said, okay. So they bought me a big coffee, and I went down to Gibraltar, because I wasn't that far from Gibraltar on the southern part of Spain, and I wasn't feeling good. Like I said, I was sick. So I thought, oh, there are English doctors in Gibraltar, so I'll go to Gibraltar. So I'm at Gibraltar, and in Gibraltar, I went to the doctor, and he said, well, you just got food poisoning. So actually, I was okay. I mean, he just gave me some stuff for food poisoning, and I was okay. Just that day, I was really, really sick, right? But I gave my car away for a cup of coffee. So I thought, okay, that's the way it is. So things happen, you know, that's no problem, right? I went, took a ferry from Gibraltar to Morocco. So when I came back, right, with the English fellow, and he, if I remember correctly, he went back towards England, and I started traveling around a little bit more. I didn't stay very long in Morocco, and I was back in Spain. And I forgot to ask them to maybe email me or tell me, you know, if they have any problems or something like that. I can probably help them or whatever, you know. Anyway, so I traveled around a little bit. I was here and there and all over the place. And then I flew back to Canada. And in Canada, I'm sitting in Canada, and about 2 months later, I got a note on the door saying Interpol. I thought, oh, geez, what the heck did I do? So I thought, well, Interpol. So I phoned the guy up, and I said, well, what's the problem here? He said, did you have a car in Spain? I says, yeah, I had a car in Spain. He says, we found it abandoned on the side of the road. And the plates were actually German plates, because I was in Germany. I bought it in Germany, except for I'm a Canadian, so boy, the paperwork took like 2 months for them to track me down. Anyway, so they tracked me down there. I guess if somebody had kidnapped me or whatever, I'd be gone, right? And the funny part was, he said it was parked on the side of the road, but most of the time when I was driving in Spain, if a car was abandoned on the side of the road, it was stripped. But this car wasn't stripped. Apparently, it just was left alone. I guess they figured it was a German car, they'd leave it alone. Anyway, so I said, well, and they said, well, why was your car, it was registered to you? Why was it? I said, well, I sold it to these three girls. And he says, what's their names? I says, I'm not sure. Jeanette, Marie, and something else. And he said, you don't know? I said, no. What'd you sell it for? I said, a cup of coffee. He said, you sure? I said, yeah. It was a grande coffee. It was a big one. It was a big coffee. He said, well, I said, look, I sold it to him. I gave him all the paperwork and said, here you go. You can have the car. I don't care. You know, I'm not feeling good. Take the car and go. And apparently they drove, and it broke down on them, and they left it. And I said, I made the mistake. I wanted to find out how far they made it, but I forgot to ask the guy how far they made it. And so he was acting like maybe I was responsible for the salvage of the car, like to take it away and get rid of it, stuff like that. I said, well, it wasn't my car. I sold the car, but they didn't do the paperwork, I guess, and they just left it in my name, which was kind of a mistake on my part. Anyway, and so they they just abandoned the car on the side of the road somewhere. And I thought, oh, well, hopefully they're okay. But so Interpol, he asked me a couple more questions and all that kind of stuff. And overall, it wasn't too bad. They said, you know, the next time you got to get all the paperwork properly done and stuff like that, or you got to get some kind of proof of what you did or whatever. And I said, yeah, no problem, no problem. But I sold it for a cup of coffee. So there you go. You can have a car for a cup of coffee. And he thought that was kind of unique in a way. He's going, really, a cup of coffee? I said, well, like I said, it was a grande. Anyway, that's one of my trips in Spain.